Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? Thank you for watching us and thank you for coming back another week. We appreciate you. Today on the show, we are beyond honored to sit down with a true legend in comedy. With over 45 years on the mic, she has graced stages from Comic View to Def Comedy Jam, tickling funny bones across the globe, from the Virgin Islands to Germany. You may know
Mm.
her from Tiffany Haddish presents They Ready, or her razor sharp set on Laugh in Your Face and Uptown Comic. You let me see here, tongue tied. But comedy is just the tip of the iceberg, folks. A former Marine and a teacher, bringing grit and wisdom and a whole lot of unfiltered truth to every punchline. Buckle up. This is going to be one unforgettable conversation. Please welcome the lovely Miss Barbara Carlyle. Hi.
Hey, I thought you was reading somebody else's stuff. I was like, that's me.
It's you. It's you. It's you.
It's me. It's me.
Yeah. How are you? Thank you so much for
I
taking the
am
time.
fine. Thank
We
you
are
for
so much.
inviting me. I jump at the chance to get interviewed because no matter how long I've been doing comedy, a lot of people still don't know who Barbara Carlyle is. They might
Yeah,
know my jokes, but they don't know who is the deliverer of the jokes because
right.
they can only go by who posts the jokes.
Exactly. Well, that's why we wanted you here today. I'm very big about legends, and I call true goats. They be putting anybody in the title, but people that have been putting in time. I think you over 45 years, right? Is that right?
48, 48 to be
Well, I was gonna
exact.
say it might
October,
have been more because that might have been, yeah. Okay, so
yeah,
yeah, look at that. Look at
48
that. Wow,
until October, and then it will start my 49th year.
that's amazing. My God. So over 40. Wow, 40. That's a long time. So
Yeah,
you
because I'm only 40. I'm only 49, so I've
exactly.
been
Well, you look fabulous. So
doing comedy since I was one. You know?
on the stage as a toddler.
Yeah,
So you,
yeah.
wow. When was the moment did you realize that you were funny? Like what led you into comedy in the first place?
Well, I started out wanting to be an actress,
Oh,
and that's neither here nor there. But once I got in college, uh, I was in a lot of plays, and I always got the leading role in comedies. And I've always had a knack for, quick.
hello.
I started going to a comedy club
Mhm.
downtown Savannah, and it just went from there.
Wow, that's amazing. And so you've been doing comedy so long. What keeps you inspired and keeps you coming back to the stage?
The fact that I know I have something for a comedic audience. I mean, comedy does like a kind of evolution, like every 10 years or so, or maybe a little longer. And, once the pandemic shut us down, when we came back, it had made another revolution, and it really affected um, veteran comics because we were used to doing stand up, and now people who were sitting home and couldn't go anywhere, they were used to the 30-second clips, the 5-second clips. And
Mhm.
that was what they considered comedy. But the real comedian aficionados knew what real comedy was about because the people were going to see these people thinking based on those videos that they had a set. But of course, they got there and found out it didn't. So, you know.
Wow. Wow, the history is just amazing. How did your time, I know you were in the Marine, how did your time in the Marine Corps, influence your stage presence and your confidence in comedy?
Well, I was a reservist. I was never active duty until I had to go to Desert Storm. So I was still doing comedy, and I was just a weekend warrior. So the
Okay.
weekends that I had to be in the field, I was not doing comedy, or I'd wait until, because we'd only be there till about 6 o'clock unless we had to stay overnight for
Mhm.
schooling or something. And I would still be back in time to go do a show if I had one. So it
Wow.
never like interfered, but it helped me to develop military jokes, from the stuff I did, from the stuff I saw, because I was a typical Private Benjamin because man, I was a screw up. you
Private
know.
venue.
And I joined at 30 years old, and that was the first thing, you know.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
What made you want to do that? I'm just curious now. It's sidebar.
Well,
So-
to be perfectly honest, I was
Mhm.
dating a guy that was a Marine, and
Okay.
we broke up. So
Okay.
I decided, and he had gotten kicked out of the Marine Corps. So
Oh
I
God.
decided I was going to do something that he failed at. I guess that was the only way I could get back at him without getting back to him or with
Right.
him, you know. So I joined. I was smart enough to go in as a reservist and not do active duty. That way I got to still live my life and do what I wanted to do. And I'm very glad that I did, because now, I get a disability check from the military, and everything is like copacetic.
That's amazing. Wow.
Mhm.
Did you ever perform for the military? Like I
Yes,
know.
several
A
times.
lot. Oh, nice.
As a
Okay.
matter of fact, my the training people, I forget, what do you call them?
I
They
know who you're talking
made
about.
perform in front of the other troops before we even graduated.
Really? Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing. I've heard those experiences are great performing for the military. Um, I
yeah.
guess because it's a vigorous audience. I don't know what that's about, but I've heard
Well,
you.
I mean, they're no different than any other audience, because I mean, but you get to talk about stuff that, if you're prior military or you're in the military, the kind of things that they will relate to more so than a regular audience. Because when you're doing a military audience, 9 times out of 10, the majority of them are in the military, or military family or whatever. But when
Mhm.
you're doing a regular audience, you have people from all walks of life.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you
you
never
have to
know.
tailor jokes to suit everybody.
Yes, exactly. So you perform all over the world. How does an international audience react differently to your humor, or do they?
Well, uh, they don't. I mean,
Okay.
because I know how to go in and you know read up on different aspects of the culture and whatever. Now, like even when I moved to New York,
Hmm.
I was in New York from 86 to 96,
Hmm.
and I'd never heard of the Jamaican culture.
Okay.
So I started seeing a guy that was Jamaican, and I
Mhm.
learned a lot from him, and just learned a lot from just being in the comedy clubs and listening to the things and listening to the lingo and all that kind of stuff. So, and even when all the places that I might have gone, there
Mhm.
were always English speaking audiences, and I
Mhm.
had to read up on how to you know or I talked to some of the other comics
Mhm.
that who were native to that place,
Mhm.
or read up on it and just learn different things that they would be surprised that I would know, me being
From
down south
right,
American.
right.
you know
Yeah, I think that research is everything as a comedian. Because even when you engage, as soon as you walk into a room, it could totally be night and day. If it's a
yeah,
urban room or if it's a senior citizen room, if it could totally change. So, reading the room is I think one of our best tools. Is that what I call
yeah.
it?
Well, it
Yeah.
should be. And I try to tell that. I used to have uh, uh, a Zoom call where I would talk to up and coming comics. We'd have classes, and
Hmm.
we do all kind of things to try to get them, you know, acclimated to being on the comedy scene and whatever. And we would do like little scenarios about this, that, and the other. But they have to know that they have to get the foundations of comedy. It's not, you don't just walk up there and think that you are going to be, a sensation overnight. That rarely happens. Not saying
Yes.
that it can't happen,
Shay's the only
but
one I've seen do it in 2 years. The guy from SNL. He's the only one I've seen do 2 years. I've never seen
uh,
anybody else do 2 years
yeah,
instead of 10,000 hours. That's crazy. But they
yeah,
say he was out 7 nights a week, 5 times a night, or something crazy. So
yeah.
maybe,
I mean,
maybe.
you got whatever you put in, that's what you're going to get back out. Some of
Mm,
them think, oh, they put a stipulation on their time in grade. I mean, they'll say, well, if I ain't made it in 6 years, I'm gonna just give it up. Well, you don't
Right.
want to be a comic in the first place, because
Right.
chances are you're not gonna make it in 6 years. And I thought there were a lot of comics when I came out.
Mm.
And ever since the black comedy explosion, so to speak,
Yep.
happened in the 80s, you know, there have been so many different comics, and then there are so many other nationalities. There's so many comics that I've never met, never heard of. And every time you turn on the TV, I mean, you can go to any channel and you got comics, comics, comics. Everybody wants to be a comic, you know.
Yes, yes, that's true. And no matter where you go, I do still find it's still uh, an overwhelmingly amount more men than women, but that could be for several hundred reasons,
Mhm.
including the traveling so
The fact that
much.
they don't let you know that there are women out there,
Yes.
and they only push certain comics, you know. You got to make your way through this game, because this game is dirty, very dirty,
Oh,
you
I've
know.
I've, I've heard details, and I commend anyone that stays in this long and still says, "Well, nope, I'm going to still be out here in these streets. I
Yeah.
don't care what they say," because I believe it's a
Mhm.
gift from,
Yeah.
and you know when it's a gift. You know when you're just doing it because you just want to be on stage and be cute, but versus no, this is something I have to do this. Like if I don't do anything
I
else,
have to do this. Yeah. I mean, this is the only thing I know. This is my first love, you know.
wow, wow. How did
It's
you end
crazy.
up? Yeah. How did you end up being part of Tiffany Haddish Presents They Ready? That's
Okay. Well,
did you have
that's
a
a that,
history?
I shout out to Tiffany Haddish, because every
Okay.
time my career comes to like a stalemate, whatever you call it,
Yes.
a stop, she
Mhm.
comes, the black unicorn comes riding in and lifts me up to another thing. But um,
That's
when
good.
we were in Korea in 2007, that's when we
Mhm.
first met.
Okay.
She and I and another comedian, a Korean comedian,
Mhm.
had like a 3 week tour over in South Korea.
Okay.
So every night, um, she would come to my room and ask me how her set was, how to help her, you know, do her set better, what she should take out, what she should keep, how she act, and all this kind of stuff. So uh, at at the culmination of the 3 weeks, we made a vow that if either one of us made it, we would
Mhm.
go back and reach the other. Now, I had been in the business for I don't know how many years, and if I hadn't made it by then, well, made it.
Right.
Um, it wasn't like it was lip service that I was giving her, but the chances are, I don't know if I ain't popped by now,
Right.
chances are I don't know when I pop, but if I do pop, and
Right.
she stuck to her word. I'm
Wow.
sitting home one day, and okay, now let me tell you this: they had done Day Ready One,
Okay.
and you know, the people that were on there then, I was like, oh, she didn't call me. I was like, I can't believe Tiffany. She promised me, never knowing that there was going to be a Day Ready Two. You
Right.
know,
Right. That's was
so
that the one with Joffrey and I forgot the other young one.
Godfrey was on with me. Godfrey was
Okay.
on with me.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
first one, there was Flame Monroe and some other
Yes.
comics.
Okay.
And the one that we did, I was on with Godfrey, Tony Woods,
That's
um,
it. I'm with yeah.
Aaron, and um, uh, so many others.
What
And
a lineup. Wow. I
yeah,
missed
it
that.
was, it was great. So
Legends. Oh,
uh, I think what happened was that she was able to bring people she wanted on, and they picked the other people.
oh,
I think she had to prove that that thing, what she wanted to do, was going to be a hit.
right.
So when it came around the second time, she reached back and got some people that she thought deserved it, and people that helped her along the way. And I just
Mhm.
happened to be one of them. So I
Oh,
was,
that's
man.
beautiful.
And
That's
if we
beautiful.
take during the pandemic,
Mhm.
you know,
Wow.
so by the time We taped in October.
Mhm.
It aired in February, but by
Okay.
then we were in the midst of the pandemic.
Right.
I mean, where we had to be shut down. So
Right.
we didn't get a chance to go on tour. We didn't get a chance to do anything. I mean, it was shown, people were seeing it on Netflix, but so we were shut down, what, maybe 2 years or so. And
Right.
then by then, some other things had happened.
Wow.
So
And now,
now
and
that
now
she
you're.
has,
Sorry.
now that she has the Funny and Fearless tour, she again reached out to me to be a part
Wow.
of that. So it's me, her, and Flame Monroe again. Flame did, as I said, Day Ready 1, and I was on Day Ready 2.
Wow. That's a great lineup. Oh man. And so right now you're on break. I'm so glad. So I'm lucky I even got you at all. So thank you for taking the time. Um, with everything that you've seen and survived in this industry, um, do you feel like a responsibility to be a mentor at all to younger comics, especially like women coming up?
Well, I have, and I do have a special place in my heart for female comics, and I try to help as many as I can.
Right.
But as in everything, women are catty,
Yes,
and
Lord.
some of them have such an ego, or just don't want the help, even though you offer advice, you offer friendship. Hey, you need any help, call me, whatever.
Right.
um you know so you
Yeah.
the it's hard. I mean, I've been in several all female troops.
Mhm.
Started out with one in New York. Uh we were called Funny Mother Loving Sisters, PMS.
Oh.
And there
Yeah.
was seven of us.
Oh my
Seven
God.
of us, and we had to endure so much, with the guys calling all of us lesbians.
Oh
I
God.
mean, it was just crazy. But
Oh my
we
God.
we made a name for ourselves. It was pretty good. Then about a year or two ago, we started doing the Real Housewives of Comedy, and that
Oh,
was seven of us
wait.
doing that,
Which
and it
which
was hard.
what station was that on?
Um, it wasn't
What?
on a station. We just created the group and we did
Okay.
shows all over. And
Okay.
it was hard because people think that female comics are relegated to doing specialty shows
Right.
like not Halloween, Valentine, Mother's Day, you know, um, that kind of thing,
Right.
Or even when they introduce us, they have the habit of saying, we got a treat for you tonight.
Right.
Ladies, we got a treat for you. No, you got a treat for everybody. You
Right.
know, why do we
Right.
have to be a treat? Why can't we just be a comic? And it's the things you have to go through when you should be the headliner, but because
Mm,
you're a woman, they feel like you can't close the show unless it's like um, what the ones they deem that might be the queens of comedy or somebody like that.
right.
So it's all that you had to go through,
Mm,
but
mhm.
you have to persevere.
Yes. I can imagine. What's the one piece of advice that you wish someone had given you when you were starting out?
Know your worth.
Mm,
The sad part with me was I loved the game more than I loved the money.
mm,
So if they call, no matter how many credits I had and how many years in the game, they
mhm.
call and they say, okay, I got $500. I'd say, oh well, I'm sitting home not making $500. It ain't no real work. Let me go get this money.
Right.
So you teach people how to treat you. So when it
Right.
was time for them to pay, and I know that they were paying people with less time,
Mm,
wasn't as funny, more money, I had to realize that this was you. It had nothing to do with anybody else. You did not take a stand. So if
mm,
you're out there, you know that you do the work and you
right.
have the ability to do what you're supposed to do,
Right.
get your money.
Right. That's
Money.
one thing I liked about Monique, because I felt like, she's right. you get your money. That's it. And nobody, you have no one to blame but ourselves if we don't get it. So
If
because
we don't,
if I took it, then I shortchanged not only myself but the next group behind me. So
yeah,
it's important.
yeah.
But thank you for that. That's so important. Um, what was it like when you was on the being being featured in Tiffany Haddish Presents They Ready? Um,
Well,
getting recognition.
I knew basically all the other comics except the two other ladies.
Okay.
Um, Kim was from California. Erin was from I think she was from like the Maryland area, but
Mm.
um, she had worked more of the mainstream rooms than I had. I was basically in the black rooms, so to speak.
Okay.
And
Chitlin
so
Circuit.
yeah, the chitlin circuit without the chitlins. It was more like hog moms. But so they were the only two that I didn't know. I knew Tony, I knew Dean, and I knew Godfrey.
Okay.
I'd
Okay.
never worked with Godfrey, but I knew Godfrey. I didn't know, and I'd worked with Dean and I'd worked with Tony Woods. So
Tony Woods. Yeah. Well, I know it must have been nice finally getting recognition that you've been long overdue.
yeah,
I feel.
I mean it's always nice. I wish there was some way I could go on TikTok because I started, because they take jokes and and people just go on and say, "Oh, you're so funny. Oh, I love you. Oh my God, you have me laughing."
Mhm.
And you go on and say, "But that's not them. It's me."
Right.
People don't care. They don't care. They're looking for something to make people come to their. So
To the-
they will copy it, and
mhm.
then the other people get the credit. And I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that is
You know.
that's the bad part about social media. It's good because you can say, you know what, I think I'm gonna put clips out here, and you can do that
Mm.
and build your own audience if you want. But the bad part is somebody else can do it too, and still and even impersonate you, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's like what?
But they're just pantomiming. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's your voice, and the
Right.
people that know it's your voice, they might say, "Oh, well, that's not her doing this. This is whomever." The people don't care.
Mm. I
They
think
don't
there's a
care.
few
I
of us
could
left. There's a
complain
few
till
of
I'm
us left.
blue in the face,
Right,
huh?
right. There's a few of us left that care, you know, and
Yeah.
that pay. Like I hate people that steal jokes and right in your face a lot of times too. And it's like, what do
Well,
you? Why are you
sometimes
taking?
sometimes you set yourself up for that kind of thing, and that's why you have to have a certain uniqueness. Talk about things that a lot of people ain't, or even if it is the same thing, take it in a whole different direction.
Mm,
um
mm.
you have to, like, there are a lot of people. It's hard to explain the comics, comics to say, "I'm gonna do a whole new set this week." You've only been in the game like 10 weeks. So you're going to do a whole nother 5 minutes and have
Mhm.
it, really strengthen your first 5 minutes. And
Okay.
when you don't do the same jokes over and over,
Mhm.
you give other people room to take the jokes and go do it somewhere else. So
Oh.
when they get away with it the first time,
Mhm.
then it gives them courage to keep doing it. So by the time you that they have
Mhm.
already been, people think it's their joke. It's
Mm.
like, oh, he done stole this person's joke. And
Right.
you can talk to you blue in the face and say, oh, no, that's my joke. I did this joke. I can prove to you. No, you
Right.
can't prove now because you're getting up there every week doing different things. And even if they don't steal your joke, they can steal
Uh,
your premise.
oh, wow.
So
So
you
you,
take your 5 minutes and you
mhm.
work on that 5 minutes until every time you get up there and do it, people are laughing.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
you you
Wow.
you begin to work on the inflections of the word. It might be the joke might change just simply saying, "Oh, I went to the store. I went to the store. I went to
Right.
the store." You know,
Right. Right.
you got to work on it and see what works all the time. But most people are so busy trying to prove, "Oh, I can write. I'm gonna have a new joke every time." Yeah, you're gonna have a new joke, but it's gonna belong to somebody else sooner or later. because you're not constantly doing it.
Right, and focusing.
You know,
Okay, so yeah, see, because we get so many different types of advice. And some comics will say, "Oh, when you start out, oh, just go up, do the open mics, and observe the room, and just go off top of your head." Some say, "No, write it down and be prepared and what you're gonna do." And some say, "Practice, like you just said, practice until it's almost perfection, because it's always gonna get
yeah,
better." And it can always get better,
yeah.
but
I mean,
practice
I
until you
go
know
up there and and you got comics sitting back in the back of the room
it.
listening,
Mm,
and you're going up there and you're going through your material,
mhm.
and they are still in premises, whether you believe it or not. And you know they're going to get booked somewhere because they've already established. You're
Mm,
still relegated to doing open mic nights. You're not going out of town doing something. So they're
mm.
taking your material and going out being famous somewhere else.
Yes, I've seen it. I literally
Yeah.
have seen it. I was that was my first time realizing what stealing a joke really was. Lifting a whole set, actually, not even a joke. My first
Yeah.
time I was at, where was I? I was at Gotham, I think it was, or Metropolitan
Mhm.
Room. And I was watching TV. I kid you not. I took a class with Andy Engel, whatever, thousands of years ago. And I saw I was turned this comedy thing on, and this female comedian, literally word for word, took my whole set. And
Wow.
I called my not my teacher, but I called him. I was like, what is this? He said, that happens. I said, but not even a little bit, but all of it, every last line. Now the funny thing to it, maybe because it was me, I can tell, to me, when someone's taken a joke, because if you're being true to yourself as a comic and true to your whatever's going on, really can't steal everything, right? Because I talk about
Mhm.
foster care a lot because I was a foster kid. You can't steal that. If you wasn't a foster kid, I'm gonna know, as a former foster kid, I'm gonna know they just saying that and to sound good.
Mhm.
Like it's like a guy talking about a hair weave. It's like,
Yeah.
you cannot get hair weaves. That's not gonna make sense. So I don't know. I've been able to call out quite a few people and say, I'm not sure if that's your truth. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, but it happens. It's part of our business, I guess, right? Um, uh, so comedy has changed a lot over the last, decades, right? It's changed so much. What's something that you miss about like the old scene of comedy, and something you love about the new?
The I wouldn't say I miss anything. I don't respect
Mhm.
uh the way comedy has been portrayed. Um when there are so many people out here, and I know everybody can't get on, everybody is not going to get famous, and everybody's not going to get this, whatever,
Right,
but let it be about talent
right,
and not about how popular you are or who wants to see you and who they're putting on. Because there's so many people out here who are talented that won't get the opportunity to get on, and
mhm,
because you don't kiss butt, or you don't kowtow to
mhm,
what the people who, uh, so to speak, can put you on, then it takes all the fun out of doing it,
mhm,
because you're sitting back. And I know I speak for myself, and
mhm,
there have been so many times that I know that, hey, you couldn't possibly say this person was funnier than me.
mhm.
If I'm getting a standing ovation and this person is just getting laughs ever so often,
Right,
how is this person elevated over me?
right,
It is
mm,
not like it's a fluke. I do this everywhere I go,
right,
you know.
right. Mm,
So,
mm.
but they
That's
they they make excuses when they want to make excuses, you know.
There it is. There it is. Well, I know I see a lot of young female comics, and older. What am I saying? I know a few older, actually, that are now actually producing their own shows, because I guess they
Yeah.
got tired of being looked over. And I
Hmm.
know, sometimes new comics get a little eager and say, "Oh, I want stage time. I want stage time." So we'll do stuff to make stage time. Whatever. I get that, but I just commend them because at some point it's like, listen, as long as I can, and they're eating off of these shows. They're not. It's not like they're doing free shows. They're charging $25 a ticket, $50 a ticket. They're eating. If it works, go for it. That's what I say.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
or you just wait around till your turn. One of the two. But I don't know. It's everybody's
Well,
different.
that's the hard part about it because while you're waiting on your turn, somebody else that don't even deserve a turn is getting a turn. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So it's a matter of putting everything in perspective and seeing how hungry you are, how committed you are to the craft.
And
You know.
it is a craft. That's fact. That is a fact. I read somewhere that you were able to speed read an audience. How do you adjust your material like on the fly? Is that a
Well,
comedian?
it becomes a whole lot easier when you are the headliner because you get to see everybody that goes up and you get to see how they respond to certain jokes, certain words. So if somebody before me is up there and they're using a lot of blue humor and the audience is not really, going for it, then I know I gotta adjust my jokes. I'm gonna do the same jokes. I'll just substitute words.
Okay. Right.
But you have to be able to do that. Some people cannot come out of themselves and because they're not used to it. So you have to be able, I mean, even though I do blue humor, I can do the same set with just taking out certain words. A lot of people can't adapt like that. I'm not saying I'm no magician or anything like that,
Right.
So
well, that's a pro, and that's what a legend does. I mean, you could throw anything out to any of you legends, and I mean, I put it this way: the certain jokes are off limits in normal crowds, but if I gave the joke to you or to an Eddie Murphy or whoever, it's going to be hilarious, and no one's even going to be thinking about all those categories, or improper, whatever they call it, what do you call it, politically correct and stuff. They won't even care because how you've mastered it so long and so well that you can, what I can't say and what I could say is right. Big difference.
And too, Def Jam helped us and it hurt us because before all we had were the mainstream rooms to go into. There weren't that many black comedy rooms to go into. Michael Williams had one in Atlanta, Georgia. Then he moved to Cali, and we had like comedy nights, and they were few and far between. And you got a million comics trying to get into maybe about 10, 15 rooms. So you had to do the mainstream rooms. And they would put stipulations on you. Oh, well, I don't want no Def Jam comedy. We don't want nobody coming in doing the F-bombs, until they realized that black comics were bringing in black audiences with money. Right. And so they would create a night and they made more money off that one night than they did booking a whole week with the mainstream comics, So when, because when I came along in the 70s, there really weren't no black rooms. So you were doing the rooms. And, when the black comedy explosion happened, like in the 90s, late 80s, I jumped on that bandwagon because, here it was. I mean, we got our own rooms. We can do this. I ain't got to go through all this craziness with people, because I'm coming from Georgia, moving to New York. I'm country as hell. I don't speak the vernacular. Right. I didn't know all the different cultures. I didn't know about Jamaicans. I didn't know about the Jewish people. Of course, I learned to tailor some of my jokes to fit any audience or whatever. Right. But it was like culture shock, so to speak.
Right.
But once we started um, going after Def Jam and after Comic View, and
Mhm.
they had no choice but to book us. Well, they did have a choice, but they only brought in certain ones. You
Right.
know, and it used to be that we'd be out on the road for 3 weeks straight.
Mhm.
Go from here, maybe 2 hours later we are there and we are this, whatever. And so the most a headliner would make would be like $300.
Right.
But you're making that for 15 straight days.
Right.
And you're
Right.
traveling with a feature, and the feature might get 100, 150.
Right.
So it was good money back then. And you got to do, they feed you, whatever. All you
Mhm.
had to do was just get yourself there. And generally, they made the feature drive the headliner, whoever you were
Right.
put with,
Right.
So when the
Wow.
Black Comedy Explosion started, and I jumped into that realm,
Mhm.
then there was a lot more stipulations. You
Mhm.
know, now it to me it seemed, and I'm sure the casting couch has been around everything. So it was like, okay, you want to
Mhm.
get on now, you got to sleep with me. Well, I
Right.
wasn't one of those. If my comedy couldn't get me anywhere, uh,
You
you know,
wasn't going. That's right.
I believe more in my comedy than I believed in my sex organ. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And
I got
that's
more
what it's
talent in my mouth. In my words, I ain't gonna say in my mouth because that's part of it. But that's neither here nor there. So,
about. I
but
got you.
anyway, yeah. So, uh, it was something. Just, I mean, if you could get caught up, you could get, you know, and that was one things too that I tried to instill in some of the female comics coming through. Hey, be careful.
Mhm.
These guys talk to you, say they can take you here, there, everywhere. So
Mhm.
beware. But
Mhm.
and then they'll go back and tell them, well, she just jealous. She don't want you to do this. She just jealous because you're this and that. And you know how women
Always.
are. We are daddy.
Yeah.
And
And they go for it.
they always come back and apologize and say, well,
Mhm.
you tried to tell me. No, did you?
Mhm.
I don't be mean about it. I'd be like, well, you're young, this, whatever. But
Yeah.
they knew, no, mm-mm.
Wow. Wow.
Comedy was my mainstay. Forget you,
Right. Right.
you know.
Wow. You've been in this game for decades, and we've seen some legends get their flowers very late or not at all. What's your take on how the industry treats seasoned comics, especially Black women? I feel when it comes to recognition and longevity.
Well, just like in anything else, they have their picks. I
Right.
mean, there's always you can go even in sports.
Mhm.
They have their picks who they think are the greatest. When you might have somebody that's little known but has a much better game,
Right.
but they push who they want to push.
Right.
And the only thing you can do is remain true to yourself and do what you got to do to stay relevant in the game. Everybody's not going to like you. Everybody is not, I mean, and I wouldn't say I was difficult,
Mhm.
but I wasn't a pushover.
Right.
I'm not, if my comedy couldn't do it for me slipping with you ain't gonna do it for me. You
Good for
know,
you. Good
that's
for you.
not the route I'm gonna take.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like when people do that, it really takes away from the hard work that other people put in, and I feel like it's just is it's not. I mean, life is
Well,
not fair, but
yeah, but to each his own. I mean, um, the casting couch has always been around, and
yes,
a
it
lot
has.
of people want the fame more than they want the biz the I mean the dream. You
That's why
know,
they made the casting couch.
yeah,
Just saying,
and
that's
then
how I got started.
you don't get any further than anybody else. And you reach a certain point, and then you look, and there go that heifer. How she get up
I
here? So
know. I was going to ask that. Do you ever look around at some of these comics blowing up and think, "Now, wait a minute, I've been funny how long?" Or do or you just chalk it up as timing and hustle?
It depends. It depends
Mm,
on the situation and how much I know about that, what is going on with that particular comic. You know,
mm,
and like I say, the fast route ain't
mm,
always the easiest route. And
no.
the fast route, if I'm looking at you, then I've been going like a turtle, then
Mm.
and I ain't sleep with nobody. So
Right, right,
what does that say? Yeah, you might have gotten here and we're on the same level, but what did you have to go through? You know,
right. I know that couldn't be easy. Not at all. I mean, it
and
goes
I'm
through an
not
all.
saying all of them did that because, you know, there's a difference between, being up there and being eye candy and being up
Mhm.
there and being talented. You can be
Right.
eye candy, you'll be talented. You know, Beyonce do it all the time. I do it all. You see how I put my name in there with Beyonce? Okay.
I
She's
got
Beyonce. I'm beyond words. You know.
you. Oh Lord. As a woman in comedy, especially one who started in the male dominated era, what are
Mhm.
some of the biggest challenges that you faced, and how did you like overcome them?
Well, one of the biggest challenges I faced was getting my well deserved spot as headliner.
Mm,
You know, it didn't matter that I had more time in the game. I
mm,
had better jokes. I was funnier.
mm,
If it was an all male show, they're gonna put me in the middle.
mm,
And not only would they put me in the middle, they will cut my time
mm. What?
because I'm being too funny.
I've heard of that. I was like, are you kidding me? Wow.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm. Which show or which moment in your career do you consider a turning point? That was a turning point for you.
Well, there were so many turning points. You know, my first television thing I did was
Mhm.
Apollo Comedy Hour. That's not
Right,
the Apollo show. You know, there was
right,
the one where they did the skits and whatever. Then I went on to do Comic View like
right.
7 or 8
So,
times, and from there Def Jam. But it took me quite a while. And now, when you talk about somebody being jaded, when I did not get on um, Def Comedy Jam for 5 years,
mm,
and I saw all these people that I knew were not as funny as me.
mm,
Man, it kind of did something to me.
mm,
But
mm.
things happen for a reason, you know.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
uh,
You could have been dodging, as they say, dodging a bullet.
yeah.
You never. God
So,
did.
but and the sad and the not it's not sad. The good thing about it is whenever they do something concerned, even though it took me 5 years to
Mhm,
get on,
mm,
whenever they do something about throwback Def Jam, some
mm.
kind of way they will put a snippet of me. So it's
Wow.
like, okay, even though
Yeah.
you felt passed over and whatever,
Right.
your set is timeless.
Mm, right.
So I
Wow.
was sitting there looking at Def Jam 25.
Hmm.
Never expected them to show a clip of me, you know,
Mm,
um, or uh, just I don't know. It's just heartwarming to know that people will say, okay, and I see my name now a whole lot more
mhm,
when I'm not as in much in the loop,
mhm,
because after COVID and comedy went down,
mhm.
the promoters were now booking the internet comics. They weren't
Uh,
concerned about the show. They were concerned about putting butts in the seats. So it was a
uh,
monetary thing for them now. So they weren't booking us.
mm,
So we were relegated to going on doing, because everybody was locked down or whatever in the
mhm.
beginning. So we were doing virtual shows, and
And
everybody's computer don't work the same.
nope.
It might be a couple of seconds off or
Right.
whatever,
Right.
and you don't get that feedback because people are laughing late, they're laughing
Yeah.
too early. And it's
Yes.
like, okay, and it's crazy, but you
Or
had
they
to
put
do
up a
what you had.
picture.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah,
I need you to just tap the heart. Thank you. Yeah,
yeah.
I get. Yeah. You once said, I think his quote, "I got one daughter and several baby daddies. How much of
Oh,
your real life?" Yeah, exactly. How much of your real life ends up in your material? And like, does your family
well,
members
it
go cringe
depends.
at your
It
jokes?
depends on well, I know how far to take it. I'll talk about my daughter being like money hungry or whatever, but I'm not gonna get on there and do anything that uh because I know how sensitive my family can be, even when I'm just
Yes.
around them. So, and I wouldn't want. I got some crazy people in my family, and they'll jump on me, and I can't fight. I done told you that. So, but I try to take stuff that may have happened and expound on it, make it, just, oh, you ain't gonna believe this,
Right.
that kind of thing, and I talk about relationships, uh, past relationships, how men treated me and whatever. And then it's up to them to try to figure out which one I'm talking about. Because
Mm,
you know what you did. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
So it depends. And most of the stuff, I just got a weird kind of sense of humor. So a
right.
lot of stuff I'll make up. And like
Hmm.
I say, when you
Sure.
are able to be totally different from what everybody's talking about,
Mm,
then, you know, it makes it a whole lot easier in my book.
yes. Yes. Wow. Well, I'm so excited. I can't believe the time is winding up so fast, but I did want to ask you, what mark would you like to leave in the world of comedy? Like, what do you want people? What do you hope people remember the most about Miss Barbara Carlyle?
That I try to be true to the game. I mean, it's a plus when they know the jokes and know the originator of the jokes, but
Mm,
I want to be somewhere where, like I just had a grandbaby, and
mhm.
I want him to be able to look and say, "Hey, that's my grandma," you know.
He's so
Um,
cute.
but I don't
Oh,
know. I mean, I've done enough
mhm,
to, and I know I could do a whole lot more because, because as soon as the They Ready dropped,
mhm,
I got so many movie sides and all this kind of thing. People
mhm,
trying to reach out me to give me
mhm,
a part in this movie, that movie, whatever.
mhm.
But I didn't seriously pursue it. I mean, I
Right,
did read
right,
for them and whatever,
right.
and like Clean Slate that was just out with um Laverne Cox and
Yes.
George Wallace.
Hmm.
Uh, they had sent me sides for that to read for the part that Thelma Hopkins had.
Oh,
I
okay.
was up for that part. I got a second call back, but I just country girl, you know. And even though I used to act in college, I
Mhm.
didn't get that intense training.
Okay.
And I never came into this. I When I segued from doing plays in college to
Mhm,
doing just plain stand up. Stand
mhm.
up is my love. If
Yes.
someone puts
Yes.
me in a movie or whatever, then
Wow.
so be it. But I'm not trying to go out there and say I'm sending out my headshot and doing. I don't even pay attention to my IMDb page.
Right. Right. I know. It's hard to keep it
I
all.
said, "Bye, that bitch." No.
It's hard to keep it all together though. It's like Twitter
Yeah,
and this and
I
that.
know. I was on Actors Access, all of that, and I wasn't. And
Uh,
I think all that happened while the country shut down. So I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be getting to do this, that, or the other. So,
right.
you know, if
Wow.
it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm content doing stand up.
Hmm.
You know,
That's the bread and butter right there. Where can we?
yeah,
Are you on tour right now? And what is there anywhere people can go see you? Any cities
yes.
coming to locally?
Yes, I'm on tour with Tiffany Haddish at Flame Monroe on Tiffany Haddish and Friends. It's called the Funny and Fearless Tour. If you go to tiffanyhaddish.com and you will see the calendar. We have shows all the way up to August. This May 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 1st through the 4th, we will be in Montana. May 2nd and 3rd, we have a show. Um, Missoula, Montana, and
Missoula, Montana.
Bozeman, Montana. And
Montana.
then we go from there to North Dakota, and those are both places I've never been. North Dakota will be casinos, and I'll be the woman at the casino.
At the casino.
$2. But yeah, and we're basically doing theaters and casinos, and it's the three of us. I'm glad that she cared enough about me, as I said, to come and pick me up and put me on that tour, and it has been a great ride. I tell you, it has been.
Well, no one's more deserving. No one's more deserving. I'm glad to see you get your flowers.
I'm humbled.
Yeah, they need to send the roses behind the flowers and the other ones and that orchids, all that.
Well, you talk about the flowers, right? When you say the rose, because I'll take the other one too.
No, I'm giving different ones, like, so one flower and then different types of flower. I don't know which one the nicer one.
Well, there's a flower rose. There's a flower rose, and then there's a sexual rose. So I didn't know which one you wanted people to send me.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, you enlightened me.
Yes, there's a sex toy that's called the rose. Yeah.
Really? Oops,
yes.
Well, that was not the one I was talking about, guys. I apologize.
Well, that's the one I'm talking about.
I know you're like, wait, this interviewer.
Well, them other ones, the other roses fade. Don't care how much water, how much aspirin you put in the water, but that other rose,
aspirin.
Rose.
Oh Lord,
staying power. It don't need no aspirin. It don't never go to the hospital. It might send you. But it ain't gonna go to the hospital. No.
It's gonna go to the hospital.
No.
Well, we appreciate you so much.
I can't believe you're blushing.
Yeah, I am. I can't, because I always say, they say, is it for kids? No, it's not for kids. But I always still be like, what's somebody gonna say?
If the kids know what a rose is, then it is for them.
Well, here you go. So, but thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to come. I know it's been a tag.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Can I say that you are looking very lovely this evening? You went out of your way to try to outdo me. You should have told me, Barbara, put on some real makeup.
No, I just said, let me throw on this. Let me look like I'm halfway decent, because you know how that goes.
Oh,
it's late. But I appreciate you so much, and
I just appreciate you reaching out to me. Of course. And I know it took us a minute before we can set this down, but I have been on the go, and it's a good being on the go, because
for
a while I'm very stagnant. So I'm trying to eat every crumb, every morsel that I possibly can, because you don't know when that,
I do not blame you. Get it all while you can. But I really appreciate you so much.
Before that dummy comes and take it all.
Hello, I know. Oh, you gave him that name. I just do orange hair.
No, whatever.
But thank you, guys. Thank you so much to our viewers as well for tuning in. I know it's not my normal day, but again, I have to get Miss Carlyle when I can get her. Okay, so we're blessed to just have it. If you're a comic out there, you know what I'm talking about. This is like a masterclass right now. So you got a couple of jewels. Hope you take them with you. And that's pretty much a wrap, y'all. Big love and big laughs. Thank you so much, Miss Carlyle. It's a blessing.
Can I give a shout out to my my Zoom cast on Monday nights?
Oh yes, please. I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. Yes.
You can go to
let me type it in there.
Okay, you're gonna tap it for me, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
BarbaraCarlyle.com /Cougar. And it's a Zoom cast. We talk about different topics and whatever. And every Monday night, we're moving from 7 o'clock to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on, be a part of it. Even if you
Is
just want to sit
that right?
and just not participate, just come on and listen. And we have a lot of fun. We have comics on there. We have people from different walks of life, and we talk about different things. We laugh a lot. Uh,
Yes. And it, wait, it's on.
BarberCarlyle.com/cougar.
Oh, oh, wait. So I did it wrong. Backslash
No,
Cougar.
just
Oh
add
Lord.
cougar. Yeah,
DAR.
just add
Wait,
cougar.
how do I get back in here? All right.
COUGAR.
Let me see if it'll let me. Oh Lord, look at me. I don't know what I did wrong. I was gonna put myself in
Let
timeout.
me see if it can let me do it. Let me see.
Barbara. Okay.
Let me see.
Barbara
Okay, it's
Carlyle,
letting me type Carlisle dot
backslash Cougar. I got it.
COUGAR, and that's Monday nights at
Oh,
Mondays 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay.
you did
And then
it.
can I put my yes, I'm gonna put my social media. So
Oh,
Facebook.
yeah, I have
Oh,
it,
you
and
have all that.
and let me see. I have it, and I put it backwards. Let me see. Okay, you put it in the chat. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So let's put the official one, guys. I apologize.
Okay.
Copy, and I'm gonna go back to here. Put it back here. Let's see if I get this right. Put it in the chat. Let's go. Let's see if that works. Let's see how that looks. Did
Oh,
it
I
go?
had so it's just Barbara
Yeah,
Carlyle.
that's right.
I don't see it.
You don't see it. Wait, you didn't see that just now? Wait, no, that's me. No, where's yours? You put it in yourself?
I started
Um,
to, but see, I put
yeah. No,
Facebook. Let's see.
oh, I know what I'm
It's
gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it a banner. That's what I'll do. Let's see if this works. Let me try
okay.
this. Sorry, my apologies, guys. Let me try that. Okay, let's see if this works. Ready? See if is that there we go. That's better. BarbaraCarlyle.com/cougar. Mondays at 8 p.m. Guys, check it out. Anybody's welcome to
Okay.
come on. Just make
And
sure
now
you
put
dress.
my
What else?
I'm Barbara Carlyle on Facebook, and I'm Barbara
Oh,
Eyes EYEZ Funny on Instagram.
I have this. Wait, don't I have this somewhere? Where did I put that banner? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, banner is on Instagram. I got Facebook, but I put the whole thing, like instead of putting just
Okay.
the name. That's where I messed up. And then for Instagram, I have you somewhere here too. Is it? No, that's not it. Where? Come on. I know I
I'll
had it.
put the Instagram.
Yeah,
Barbara
Instagram is
Eyes
Barbara. Barbara what?
Barbara EYEZ FUNNY is Instagram.
Okay.
IG. Enter.
Okay.
Barbara Eyes Funny. And on TikTok, it's the real Barbara Carlyle.
Oh, TikTok.
All written together, no spaces.
Okay, wait a minute.
The real.
I'll just paste yours, guys. This is this is me doing what do you call this? Okay, so see banners, and I'll make it as a banner. Let's try that, and it'll be better because I think when I put it as a banner, it's better. There we go. I should have scrolled it. Ready? Okay, here we go. There's it. There it is. Okay, right.
See, I don't know how to do all that. I'm too old for all that.
Well, I try to make myself. I'm over 40. Times 5 divided by 6. Take away 2.
No, Lord, that's too much math. I can't do that new math.
I got that new math for my age. I told me if I tell you my age, you know what I'm gonna have to do. But thank you so much, guys. I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate you, guys. That's pretty much a wrap. We thank you, Ms. Carlisle, for blessing our mic today.
Thank you so very much for having me. And
we
look,
appreciate
I want to tell you, and I hope that you can get in touch with her. She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram, whatever. But Sylvia Tremore Morrison.
Sylvia Tremore Morrison. I got to write that down.
Yeah, I will put it in the chat. Sylvia Tremore.
Oh, Trade more. Oh, Trade more.
Tremore.
Oh, Trey Moore.
Morrison.
Okay. Trey
Mhm.
or
Now
Mars.
Sylvia has been Morrison.
Ah, that's it.
She has
Marson.
been in the business for 56 years. And
Wow. Whew.
she has a story to tell. And
Mm.
she is an impressionist.
Oh, wow.
So
Now
I
that's
mean,
fun.
she does the women that she does, and she does do some men too. But her
Mhm.
story is man. You
Wow.
think I went through some stuff? You should hear her story. I mean,
Well, well, I will have to definitely have to try and reach out for sure. I appreciate you,
yes, she
and
is.
I'm
And tell her
sure
Barbara
I will
sent you.
definitely, I will definitely look. I will look into that for sure, guys. I appreciate you guys for taking the time to listen, and maybe let's say if you get a chance to go subscribe to our channels and all of our channels that help us out.
Mhm.
It's just fun to do, and people get to know. You never know who's learning something, right? Leave us a review if you can. Okay, share it with someone who
Yeah.
needs it to laugh. Okay, until next time, I want you to keep it real, keep it funny, and keep showing up. Okay, peace to you guys all, and we will see you next week. We'll see you
Okay.
officially back on Sunday. And Miss Carlisle, hang out one
Deuces.
minute while I say goodbye.
Okay.
Deuces. Come on now. Hey, there we go. Okay, there we go.